Okay students, in this video we will start the unit 2nd of our syllabus, that's genetics. And in genetics I will start from the first very topic, that is sex determination. Sex determination method, or the sex determination method. It is also known as sex determination system, right? Sex determination system. So first of all, we will see what do we mean by sex determination method or sex determination system. So let's put a definition of this method, sex determination method or sex determination system here. So it is the process, or we can say method. It is the process or method which determines development of sexual characters of an organism. So this is the precise definition of sex determination. So you can say it is a process, you can say it's a method which determines the development of sexual characters of an organism. So how an organism develops into a male or female. So far as this word sex is concerned, it has been derived from a Latin word. It is derived from a Latin word sexus, and sexus means section, or it means separation. So the word sexus is derived from a Latin word which means sexus, means section, or it means separation. That means most of the sexually reproducing organisms have two forms or morphs, right? So most of the sexually reproducing organisms that we see have two forms, or we can say morphs. One is male, another is female. So most of the sexually reproducing organisms that we see have two forms or two morphs. One is male, another is female. So this phenomenon of having two forms, male and female, this is known as sexual dimorphism. Sexual dimorphism. However, in biology, we met many puzzles, many riddles, where we don't see this sexual dimorphism. So, although this is one of the predominant phenomena where the two forms exist, one is male, another is female, and both these forms are required. Let me tell you, both these forms are required for the formation of a new individual. For the formation of a new organism, both the forms are required. That's male and female, because males produce male gametes, females produce female gametes, and after fusion we get a new organism. But what I am trying to make you understand, this is not the same everywhere. There are some puzzles, there are some riddles in the biology that we have to understand. Let's give you examples. For example, let me rub this first. So, we are talking about the puzzles and the riddles that we met in the biology, where the sexual dimorphism doesn't exist. For example, we have a phenomenon that's known as hermaphroditism. The organism is called hermaphrodite. In this case, you see an organism which is known as hermaphrodite. The phenomenon is known as hermaphroditism. An organism is bisexual. An organism is bisexual. That means this organism is capable of producing both the gametes. It is capable of producing both gametes. And sometimes both the reproductive organs, that's male reproductive organ and female reproductive organ, is present in the same organism. For example, we can see many examples in flatworms. For example, last year, in class 11, we have discussed a flatworm that's known as Fasciola hepatica. And in Fasciola hepatica, what we see, the same organism, a single organism, possesses both male and female reproductive organs and is capable of producing both male and female gametes. The phenomenon is known as hermaphroditism, and the organism is known as hermaphrodite. So this is a puzzle in the biology. It goes differently. It's pretty different from the sexual dimorphism that we met here, where generally we have a male and we have a female, and both these forms are required for the formation of new individual. I can cite one more puzzle, I can cite one more example which goes differently, which is different from this sexual dimorphism. The phenomenon is known as parthenogenesis. Let me write. The phenomenon is known as parthenogenesis. Again, this term parthenogenesis, it is derived from two Greek words. One is parthenos. Parthenos means virgin. And genos, okay? Genos means birth, or you can say genos means reproduction. So what happens here? In parthenogenesis, virgin reproduction. So you can see a single organism, one individual is required for the process of reproduction. Only one individual is required for the formation of reproduction. So again, there is no sexual dimorphism. And if we define this process parthenogenesis, what do you mean by the parthenogenesis? Parthenogenesis means development of, you can write, development of an individual from an unfertilized, yes, development of an individual from an unfertilized egg. So look at this term, unfertilized egg. Unfertilized egg means where there is no contribution of other parent, there is no father. An individual directly develops from an unfertilized egg. There is no fertilization of the egg, but still this egg is capable of developing into a new individual. And there are so many examples that we met in the biology where an individual develops from an unfertilized egg. For example, the best example is in honeybees. In honeybees, there is a caste that's known as drones. It's male in the beehive, drone, and this drone, it is male, this individual is male, But this male individual that's drone in case of honeybees, in honeybee colony, it develops from an unfertilized egg without fertilization, without syngamy. So this is another puzzle, this is another riddle in the biology where we don't see the sexual dimorphism. An individual is generally of one sex, either male or female. And generally what we see in the honeybees that we will discuss in the that we will discuss ahead, that this drone which is male, it develops from an unfertilized egg and it is always male. This unfertilized egg is always developing into a male, haploid male, right? So this is another example. So far what we did, let me repeat. What is sex determination method? What is sex determination system? You can define in different ways. You can say it is a process, it is a method which determines the development of sexual characters in an organism, right? But what we see generally, there is not sexual dimorphism in every case. There are some examples where we see some unusual phenomena, some puzzles. We have, for example, discussed the hermaphroditism, we have discussed parthenogenesis. Now let's come to the main topic, that is actually sexual dimorphism. Generally what we see, most of the organisms are sexually reproducing. So how there is development of male and how there is development of a female? Okay, so generally in sexually reproducing organisms, this sex in sexually reproducing organisms, this sex is genetically determined. This sex is genetically determined. It is genetically determined, right? It is genetically determined. That means in sexually reproducing organisms where you see a male and a female, there are some genes. There are some genes, or you can say some alleles. There are some genes, there are some alleles which are responsible for the development of a male or female, which are responsible for the development of male reproductive organs and female reproductive organs. So in these organisms, sexually reproducing organisms, we can say the sex is based on the genes or some alleles, and this phenomenon is genetically determined sexual determination, sex determination, right? But what we see in these sexually reproducing organisms, where the sex is determined by these genes and alleles, this is soon followed by the difference. This is soon followed by the difference in chromosomes. Soon followed. What I mean, this sex is determined by some genes, it is determined by some alleles, but there is also difference in the chromosomes of the two individuals, where one is male, another is female. For example, generally what we see, one individual is having XX chromosomes and another individual is having XY. And you know that besides these XX, there are autosomes which we can designate by AA, capital AA. Here we can say also AA plus XY. So you can say this individual, it is female. We have done these things in our previous classes as well. And this individual having two autosomes and X and Y chromosome, this is male, right? So in this case you can see the sex is generally determined by these two important chromosomes. One is XX, one is XY. It is female because of these XX and it is male because of X and Y. Autosomes are present here, autosomes are present here, but the sex is generally determined by these different types of chromosomes. These different types of chromosomes, XY in case of males, XX in case of females, these are called as allosomes, or these are simply called as sex chromosomes. So as we can say that the sex is determined by these different chromosomes, that's allosomes and sex chromosomes. So in these sexually reproducing organisms where we see this type of method, that is XX and XY type of method, the type of sex determination is known as XXXY type of sex determination, or we can say simply it is chromosomal type of. It is chromosomal sex determination. Chromosomal sex determination. It is chromosomal sex determination, right? Let me go ahead. In sexually reproducing organisms that we discussed so far, they have generally the different chromosomes in their body, which are responsible for the determination of sex, right? For the development of sexual characters. In case of females, there are XX chromosomes, and in case of males, there is XY chromosomes. So the sex is generally determined by these chromosomes. So that's why we say this type of method is known as chromosomal sex determination. However, there are some other examples in the biology where the sex is determined by some other characters, by some other factors. For example, in case of honeybees, that we will discuss ahead, that we will explain ahead. In case of honeybees, the sex is determined by the number of chromosomes. The sex is determined by the number of chromosomes. There are two conditions in honeybees that we will discuss in our upcoming lectures. One is haploid condition. Another condition is diploid condition. Okay, haploid condition and diploid condition. Haploid condition, that's designated as N, having one set of chromosomes, and diploid condition, that is designated as 2N, two sets of chromosomes. What we see here, it's not the XX and XY which is responsible for the sex determination. Rather, it is the haploid individual which develops into male, and this diploid individual, it develops into female. As I told you in the beginning, that the haploid individual is parthenogenetically developed, that is developed from an unfertilized egg, while the female, it is developing from a fertilized egg. So here the condition is haploid, single set of chromosomes that is responsible for the maleness, and here we have the two sets of chromosomes that is responsible for the female development, right? So this is another example of sex determination. Is it clear? Okay. But there is one more example of sex determination which neither depends on the XY system nor this haploid diploid system. Rather, this type of sex determination is controlled by some external factors. This type of sex determination is controlled by some external factors. For example, temperature. Right? When the sex is determined by some external factors like temperature, right? This type of sex determination is known as environmental sex determination. Environmental sex determination. This is one more example, this is one more type of sex determination. So if you look at these all examples, where first the sex is determined by some chromosomes, some particular chromosomes, XX and XY for example. There is another example where the sex depends upon the number of the chromosomes, haploid and diploid. And I now give you the one more example where the sex is determined by the external factors like temperature, that depends whether eggs are incubated at high temperature and low temperature. We will give examples ahead, right? So these all examples show us that this concept of these all examples that we have given so far, they show us that this concept of sex determination, it is a riddle in the biology. It's a puzzle in the biology, and this is riddle for all the biologists of all the time so far. So in order to solve this problem, how the sex is determined in different organisms, these biologists or these geneticists have developed some methods of sex determination that we have to explain in detail, right? And in these examples, in these methods that have been developed by the biologists, we are supposed to go through first, that is chromosomal, as I have given you in example, chromosomal sex determination. Let me tell you again, here some particular chromosomes are responsible for the determination of sex. And in second example that we will discuss ahead, that is haplodiploidy condition. Here in this case, a haploid organism, in this case an haploid organism will be of one sex, that's male, and a diploid organism will be of another sex, that's female. And the third is the environmental. Here we will give some examples, that is environmental sex determination. So these are the three important methods of sex determination that we will discuss with examples, right? So first of all, we will start from here, that's chromosomal sex determination, and then we will go through the haploidy-diploidy system, and then lastly we will go through the environmental sex determination. So let me start from here, that's chromosomal sex determination. Let me rub this first. So let's start from the first example, that is chromosomal sex determination. Now we know that this type of sex determination, it depends upon the particular type of chromosomes. For example, as in humans, XX females and XY males, but we will give some other examples as well. So this we can divide into two other types. This can be further divided, this can be further classified. For example, we have male heterogamety, and we have another example in this method, that is female heterogamety, right? So male heterogamety means male can produce two different types of gametes. Male can produce two different types of sperms. Female heterogamety, this is reverse of this one. This is reverse of first one, right? Here the female is capable of producing two different types of gametes, and you know that females produce eggs. So females can produce two different types of eggs. Here males can produce two different types of sperms. Here females can produce two different types of eggs. So that's why this is male heterogamety. Hetero means different, gamety means gametes, and female heterogamety, female can produce two different types of gametes, right? Now let us discuss this one, male heterogamety. We can classify further this type. This can be further classified into some types. For example, the most important example that we will come across in this type of system where the male is heterogametic is the same example, XXXY system. XXXY system. But there is another example where we have some pretty different, type of complement of chromosomes. For example, we have XXX0 condition. In both the cases, let me tell you, don't be confused. In both the cases, the sex of an individual is determined by some particular chromosomes. In this case, XX and XY, and in this case, XX and X0. X0 means here there is no other sex chromosome. That means instead of 2, it's having only 1. 0 means nothing, right? So this is one kind of chromosomal sex determination. This is another kind of chromosomal sex determination, and in both the cases, what we see, the male is capable of producing different types of gametes, and here again the male is capable of producing different types of gametes. If we look at this one, if we'll explain this one, in this case we can write like this. It is ZZZW and another is ZZZ0. See, chromosomes are X and X, chromosomes are X and Y, right? We have simply changed the alphabets. We have replaced the alphabets so that you will not be confused. We have simply replaced the alphabets. We have changed the alphabets. Instead of X or XY, here we have used some different alphabets. In order to show you that here the female is capable of producing different types of gametes. So that is why I changed the alphabets XX or XY with ZZZW, ZZZ0. Here, try to understand. Here, in this case, that is this individual ZZ, it will be shabash. This ZZ individual will be, okay, female, it will be male, and this individual will be female. Again here, this individual will be male, and this individual will be female. What I want to make you understand that in this case, the female is heterogametic. Female is capable of producing 2 different types of gametes, which is quite different, which is pretty different from this male heterogamety. So we will have to explain in details what is male heterogamety. We will make 2 examples, that is XX, XY system, and then next was XX, X0 system, and then we will move to the next case, that is female heterogamety, and where we will discuss ZZ system, ZZZW system, and ZZZ0 system, right? So let me first start this one, XX and XY system. Okay. So please be connected. Let's start XX, XY system. Okay. First of all, we will discuss where this system is found, in which organisms this kind of sex determination is found. So this XX and XY system type of or system of sex determination is found in humans. This type of sex determination is found in humans. It is found in Drosophila. Drosophila, you know, that's fruit fly, Drosophila. And this type of system, it is also found in some angiospermic plants, in some flowering plants, for example, Melandrium, okay. So these are the examples where this type of sex determination is found, that's XX, XY system, right? Now, here you have to again understand this individual that is having XX, it is female, this is female, and this XY, it is male heterogamety, right? So now, before I go through the process how the sex is determined in case of XX and XY system, let me come to the historical background, how this X chromosome and Y chromosome was discovered, because we have to understand how these X and Y chromosomes were discovered, where they first seen, in which organisms they were first observed. So far as this X and XY system is concerned, it was first X chromosome. It was first X chromosome. This is a very large chromosome, by the way. It is X chromosome which was discovered X chromosome was the first chromosome. I mean, say among X and XY. I'm not talking about the all chromosomes. I'm talking about X and XY. Among these two types, it was X which was first discovered, X chromosome was first discovered, and it was discovered by a German biologist whose name was Henking. Was discovered by Henking in 1859. It was discovered by Henking, a German biologist, in 1859. Actually, what he was observing, he was trying to study the supermatogenesis in case of insects. In some insects, an insect which is actually a bug, that's known as Pyrochoris. Pyrochoris is the scientific zoological name of a bug, hymenopteran bug, where this person, that is Henking, was studying the supermatogenesis. And while studying the supermatogenesis in this Pyrochoris, this hymenopteran bug, he come across a chromosome. He found a chromosome there, and he called this, because he was not sure whether it is really a chromosome or not. So he called this X chromosome first. When he first observed it, please try to understand, when he first observed this X chromosome, he called it X body. So it was first called X body. Let me tell you again, because he was not, the German biologist Henking was not sure whether it's really a chromosome or not. So he simply used the term X body. Later, the significance to this X body, significance for what? Significance for sex determination, that this X body is responsible for the sex determination. The significance to this X body was given by an American biologist whose name was McClung. Please try to understand. The significance to this X body, that this X chromosome is responsible for the determination of sex. It is responsible for the development of sexual characters in an individual. So it was given by McClung. And finally, another biologist whose name was Wilson Edmond in 1905 used the term X chromosome. So please try to understand, this term X chromosome was used by Edmund Wilson. The term X chromosome was first used by Edmund Wilson, or Wilson Edmund, sorry. It is Edmund Wilson. Okay. Now, this was all about the X chromosome, how X chromosome was discovered. What about the Y chromosome? In the same year, in 1905, where the X chromosome was discovered, finally the term was used. In the same year, 1905, another biologist, a lady biologist, right, whose name was Miss Stevens, let me write here. Miss Stevens was also studying the gametogenesis in some beetles, in case of beetles, and where he found in some male beetles, she was a lady, by the way, sorry, Miss Stevens, she found in male beetles a different chromosome, pretty different from the X. It's very large, and this Y, it's very small, it's very short. And you might have heard about it. This is most of the part of the Y chromosome. It is genetically inactive. So this, Miss Stevens, another biologist, a lady biologist, while studying the gametogenesis in male beetles, she found a different chromosome which was called as Y chromosome. So finally, after these discoveries, that is X chromosome and Y chromosome, it became a well-established fact in most of the sexually reproducing organisms that the system which is responsible for the sex determination is the same type or method that is XX and XY, where XX will be female and XY will be male, right? But now in the upcoming lecture that we need to discuss, that we need to understand how at the time of fertilization, this X and X, and then X and Y will separate from each other at the time of gametogenesis, and how they will result the formation of new individual, it will be male or female. So we will explain in the upcoming lecture how XX will get separated at the time of gametogenesis, and then X and Y, and then further development. See you next time.